Welcome to day one here at Davos 2016. I have with me the Chairman and Managing Director of SREI Infrastructure Finance, Mr. Kanoria. Welcome to Davos. Thank you for speaking with us. And what is your outlook for both the global economy and the India economy? Because the mood here does seem to be very somber.
Yeah, I think that basically what has happened is that globally things are going very slow. We can see the development happening in China. The results were announced day for yesterday. And all over the world, excepting US, which is on a recovery path, I think that all the other countries are going slow. And that, I think, is a unique opportunity for India to capitalize on, because we always see that when there is a problem anywhere else, so there is an opportunity in India. And Mr. Modi has done a good job of going around and speaking to the investors and giving them the confidence that India is the right destination to invest in. So I think that this is the right time for us to get hordes of money into India.
All right. So does that mean that your 8% growth target for FY16 is going to be met, and that in fact you're going to exceed it for FY17? Are you going to pin a higher growth number given how optimistic you are about India?
Yeah, I think that basically on the infrastructure sector, things have started looking up, and especially we saw in the last quarter specifically that the mining industry has picked up and the sales of mining equipments have also picked up. So therefore the sales have started there. Our financing has also started. So basically we are seeing the growth happening. It has started with the mining industry, and also I think that in the construction and other equipments, sales will improve from the next quarter onward. So I'm quite bullish about.
But has the pipeline started filling up? Because things have not looked very good for a very long time in infrastructure. And if you look at the large infrastructure companies, for instance, L&T, which is really, in a sense, an indicator of how things are doing, not only have they downgraded their growth forecasts, but they aren't looking in a very good spot right now.
See, as I said, that 15-16 would not have been that good, but 16-17 I'm quite bullish about it, because.
So what's the growth rate you're putting to 16-17?
No, I think that growth rate for India is such.
Not India, for your company. You did 8%. You said 8%.
Yeah, so
you're on course to meet that for this fiscal, next fiscal.
We think that we should have a double-digit growth.
Double-digit growth?
Yeah, but I don't want to mention the figure at this particular juncture, because we have to see this quarter has just begun. And we have to see that how things are going on. We are quite optimistic about the budget also, because the government would bring in a lot of SOPs to see that how infrastructure sector takes off. The other opportunity in the infrastructure sector has been the acquisitions, because many of the companies and projects have not been doing well.
Yes.
And that is where we see that companies like us can play a huge role in that, and also large overseas investors and people who are in those particular sectors can also invest in India.
So what kind of acquisition opportunities are you currently looking at? Because almost everything's on the block. Ports, roads, all kinds of large infrastructure projects, power plants. What is it that you're looking at?
So we are looking at power and roads specifically, because telecom tower we have just disinvested from the telecom tower. But roads and power, industrial parks, these are the three areas which we think that it will pick up. And especially from the acquisition perspective, because we have about a couple of companies in these sectors, and they would look at those particular growth opportunities. What we also see is that in the railways specifically, the government is saying that they would be getting the private sector to invest, so the railways should pick up. Water is another area which we think that should pick up. It may take, water.
So when you say acquisition, are you looking at participating in some of the deals yourselves, or financing some of the companies that may be acquirers? What will your role at SREI Infrastructure Finance be in this consolidation?
Both, because we are a financial institution specifically, and then we also make investments in the infrastructure sector. So we have made investments in VIOM, in the telecom tower business. We made investments in roads, powers and all. So therefore, we are looking at both financing, and wherever there is a problem, what we think that we can do very well is to restructure that particular company, provide them some financing, whatever is required, and also take equity stake. And because we have operational...
So what's on your shopping list, Mr. Kanoria, and what's the budget looking like? How much money are you looking to spend on this acquisition strategy?
See, unfortunately, being a listed company, we can't specifically mention about the
ballpark figures will do for our viewers back in India.
As you see that, last quarter, we had two announcements. In October, we announced the VIOM disinvestment. And people were thinking about it for the last couple of years, that when is it going to happen, or actually it is going to happen or not. But
and then in December, you did the BNP Paribas restructuring.
So therefore, I think that both these two So what we are trying to see is because...
But you're not answering my question. How much are you looking to spend on these acquisitions?
No, I think that, the money which we are going to get from beyond, we'll be doing financing of that, and that will, at present, we are not looking at very many greenfield projects to finance. We are looking at brownfield projects or projects which are stuck up, because that we feel can see the light of the day much faster than going in for a greenfield project in the country. So that is what we will be concentrating on. The other area which we think is a huge opportunity in India is we had an investment in SREI, which is in the rural IT, and we provide about services to e-governance, e-commerce, and e-learning.
You have about
services.
11 crore rupees invested in that business, if I understand that.
That's the equity, but we have a huge investment in that company by way of debt, and what we see is that there's about 300 million people who provide services to the 28,000 centers that we run in the rural area. So we are now expanding that.
Okay.
And that is another area of infrastructure which we feel will do very well. This is a combination, it's almost like a hybrid model, which is physical infrastructure which we have created and on the IT platform.
Correct. So you're looking to bring in a strategic partner here?
Maybe.
Maybe.
So, yeah.
Okay, so on the one hand, you're looking to acquire assets, distressed assets in power, in railways, in water, in roads.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, you're looking at bringing in a strategic player, let's say, in the e-SREI business, as you pointed out.
Maybe e-SREI, maybe in the road also, because you see what we are as a financial institution, our business model is very simple. That we do financing of infrastructure projects, plus wherever there is an opportunity, we would invest. And when we invest in certain companies, we will either fully divest or we will dilute our equity. Because ultimately, what we are trying to do is create value for our shareholders.
Okay.
And we are a financial institution. So in multiple ways, we can create value for the shareholders.
Got that.
And because now we are in this sector for 26 years, so we have seen the ups and downs in the infrastructure space.
Okay.
And that gives us a good knowledge.
Okay, fair enough. NPLs, there's been quite a bit of concern on how you're going to bring those numbers down. You said you expect double-digit growth in the next fiscal. By how much are you going to be able to reduce your non-performing loans?
See, I think that it has already last quarter, the non-performing loans have already reduced and it is on a downward trend. It was because of the economy which was not doing well. And now that the economy has started picking up, so we are not very much concerned about the non-performing loans because we think that we have and we have proven that we have the capability of addressing any kind of problems well. So that is the reason why we think that we will be in a next 2-3 quarters we'll see a good recovery.
Okay.
And as the economy picks up, we'll see the NPLs also reducing. We have already seen the trend in the last quarter.
Okay. Your first half of this fiscal, I think profit declined by almost 60%. Your second half, how are you going to preserve profitability? And even if you see double-digit growth on the top line in, let's say the next fiscal, what about the profitability or margins angle? Is the tough economy going to make that very difficult?
I think that the profits would be subdued for the next couple of quarters. It will gradually start picking up.
Okay.
Because whatever right actions that we have to take and the steps, we have been doing that. And the whole economy in the last 3-4 years was not doing well in India, and specifically for the infrastructure sector. So it does take time to recover. But are we concerned about it? We are not. Are we addressing it? Yes, we are.
Okay, one final question then, and this does not have to do as much with SREI Infrastructure Finance as it has to do with your personal equation with Vijay Mallya. I'm told that you've intervened to help him settle his various multiple disputes with banks. I'm curious as to what your locus standi in that is and why you are extending a helping hand and whether any of this is anywhere closer to resolution.
No, I think that when we made a loan to Vijay Mallya's company, Kingfisher,
Correct.
we had the shares.
But that's all extinguished, right?
So it was extinguished. The money has come.
So you
in,
no longer have any financial exposure?
No, we don't have any financial exposure, but there are court
this is
cases.
emotional exposure?
No, there are court cases going on, and we had realized a larger amount of money that was due to us, which is lying in the court.
Okay.
And therefore, we are trying to see that if there can be a resolution between the bankers, ourselves, and Mr. Mallya, so that that money which is lying in the bank, in the court, can go to the banks, because
Okay.
it is overdue. And if it can go to the banks, it will help him also to reduce his debt. It will help the banker.
But isn't
because
the
they'll
money
get
your
cash.
money?
No, it's not our money.
Okay.
So whatever our money was there over and above that, there
Okay.
is money which is lying in the court, which is unnecessarily going on in legal dispute for the last 1.5 years. So we don't understand the logic for that why this dispute has been going on. So we are trying to see that whether it can be resolved and that money goes to the rightful.
Any closer to resolution?
Difficult
Not
to
yet.
say that.
Not yet. Well, that's as tough as predicting the weather here in Davos. Thank you very much. You sound very optimistic about the next fiscal. All the best for that, Mr. Kanoria.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for speaking
Thank
with us.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks.